May the name of Hashem be blessed forever and ever. Amen. So this evening we're going to start with. There's words that I was telling earlier that there's words that they're not translated like correctly, okay? Because I learned there's a rule, okay, that you can go for with, and is if you want to learn what the root word is, okay, in Hebrew, I always look for it where it shows up for the first time in the Torah. Okay? So I always learn this. The first place it was used in the Torah, this is the meaning of it. Okay? So there's a lot of things that some people tell me, well, Teshuvah means, and they tell me repentance. So I ask them, what is repentance? It means when you feel bad that you did something wrong, and you don't want to do it anymore. I said, well, okay, then the Teshuvah is something totally different than that. This is why. I said, because Teshuvah is to return back to the original.
What is the original?
There we go. So how the level of your neshama, how Hashem created us, okay, it was in a pure form. When you breathe into a human being, He gave him a spirit, and in the spirit comes with it the ability to speak, okay? Because it's part of the essence of Hashem. So it's pure, in its pure form, it's together with Hashem, okay? With God, with Adonai. Now, when the human being distances himself from Hashem, okay, is due to a committing an error, right? So we have the first error committed, that put a distance between the Creator and the creation. Now, Hashem, before He created all of these things that we see now, and the things that we don't see, Hashem gave us already a tikkun. He created tikkun, a way. He created Teshuvah, okay? He created all these things that would help us one day to return back again to the original. So the first time after the creation, after Adam, after the Mabul, after Abraham, all of these things happened. After all this time, we went back again to the original state, the way that we were created. Where was this? Har Sinai.
Where's Har Sinai?
Har Sinai, where we received the Torah, in the mountain of Zion, right? Sinai. Now, at that state, the Satan was detached from us. Okay? Because we came into that level, that the people that were there came into the level of holiness that they could now even see the words of Hashem. Became so holy. Now the Yetzer Hara, it's no longer in the interior. Now it went back to its original state in the exterior. Okay? But what happened? Then the Erev Rav got involved. And the Erev Rav, these are the creations of Adam. Adam HaRishon, after he separated from his wife for 130 years, this is what he created, these entities. Now these entities, some went all over the place, but most of them went into Mitzrayim. Now they were taken out. These things that were created by Adam HaRishon were taken out. Okay, together with the descendants of Yaakov. Everybody now is in that state of pureness. The Israelis are in the pure form again, in the original state. But when they created the calf, now again they returned back again to the fallen state. Okay? So Hashem, He created for us this thing called, a beautiful thing, called Teshuvah. Some call it Teshuvah. Okay, they put the T and the SH or CH together, right? To form that sound. That's
The original translation for Teshuvah is truth.
truth. What is truth?
Answer.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah. So in the original state, okay, which is emet, this is reality. This is truth. Emet is truth, and this is reality. This is the pure form of Hashem's essence. Okay? Now, when human beings, okay, start committing all kinds of things that are incorrect, we distance ourselves from Hashem, from His pureness, from His holiness. Okay? But Hashem always has ways for us to return. Okay? Hashem doesn't want the death of somebody that commits sins. We know this. Why doesn't He just destroys them? No, He gives us a lot of opportunities, right? Every day, once a month, the 15 days when a woman is in a state of impurity, netilat yadayim, all kinds of things, okay, that we can do in order to rectify what we do wrong. But rectifying something is not just feeling bad. Feeling bad, okay, and not doing it again, it's different than going back to a clean and to a place where Hashem even forgives completely what you did wrong. Doesn't bring it back, forgets about it. Okay? Or He gives us an opportunity. Those things that we create when a human being sins, okay, when a Jew sins, he creates an entity. Now this entity either can be destroyed or it can be turned to be in your favor now and to speak possibly about you. Okay? So let's say somebody, give you an example. Somebody does a lie, and this lie is going to bring consequences that somebody else's gets hurt, right? So you were thinking, he just lied. Okay? This other person that he lied to, that's his friend. He'll forgive him. Yeah, he will forgive him. Let's say he'll forgive him. But that lie that he created exists now. Okay? And when the person needs to be judged, that thing is there to speak now against him or her. So now we have this mechanism put in place right before Yom Kippur. You know what tashlich is?
Casting away of sins.
Why? What do you mean casting it away?
To a river, no?
To erase it, because the record
To remember
exists
it no more.
exist because the courthouse in the world to come has
They
one
wrote
vote.
it like they wrote it down, right?
Because they said someone died and king went there. The courthouse in the world to come is 1,000 judges. This one is one, and one of the judges is your angel, and it only takes one vote for you before they will judge you to the Gehinnom. So if you're extremely bad, that even your own angel will not vote for you.
Now,
All your record is there.
now I'm gonna share with you something that is even more scarier than that. Okay, when you do a mitzvah, you create an angel of that mitzvah. Okay,
Right.
that angel that created that day is called one day. The next following day, you create another angel that's called another day. Now, at the end of
Mitzvah?
yeah, every mitzvah that you do, you create an angel. Okay, and this angel is called that mitzvah that you did. Now, Abraham Avinu, after all the years that he lived, it says, and all the days of Avrimo came together. Abraham Avinu came together, okay, in the last day. They all came together. That means that all these angels that he created from all these things that he did, okay, they came together with him in the last day that he was alive in this earth. Yeah.
You know what? Rabbi Cohen said that prayer when someone died, he said, "May your mitzvah accompany you." With
There
good."
you go.
The
This
first
is the
time I
angel.
heard that prayer, I was like, "What does that mean?" That's
Yeah.
such a very strange prayer.
Now
And
you
then
understand
they
it.
talk about it.
You see,
I was
now
like,
you
"Oh, so
understand
that's
that
what I meant."
a lot of things we say things, but we don't know the meaning behind it. Okay? So
I'm sure
believe
he
me,
knows.
it's not just that you did something right and that it's written down.
What example
No.
mitzvah? Every
It's-
good deeds that you
okay,
do
let's
is a
say-
mitzvah?
You did the mitzvah of netilat yadayim. Okay?
Not like helping other people. Is that a mitzvah?
When you do a mitzvah that is, you visit somebody that is sick, you created a mitzvah.
Think
Okay?
of it as a county recorder.
When you go and help somebody and you give them something that will heal him or heal her, okay, and you prayed for them,
Yes.
you created an angel of refuah,
Before say.
okay, an angel of healing. Now this angel is going to speak for you because it exists. All we have to do every time we go to sleep, our neshama leaves, right?
Yeah.
Guess who's present in the court? Okay? Now, we see a lot of things through the whole day, right? We see somebody that passed the red light. We saw this. No, we're sitting there, we're doing everything. Maybe you're doing the Shema. All of a sudden you see this person just fly by in a red light, right? And then you turn around and you see them crashing. That's Shalom. But you see them crashing. When they crashed against somebody, there was a guy crossing also the street at the same time, riding his bicycle. He got hit, he got killed. Now, that day that you go to sleep, you're before the court. The police officers can't figure out if that other person who's guilty, what happened. They can't tell. But you know you saw it. Now, you're going to be brought before a court in heaven. Now, if we're going to be a legitimate witness, we're going to have to, first of all, we have to fulfill the criteria of a witness. A witness in heaven has to do something very important, first of all. He has to be Shomer Shabbat. Because if he's not Shomer Shabbat, his testimony cannot be taken as something that is truth. Because he doesn't keep Shabbat. Okay? Any person that does not keep Shabbat cannot be a witness. The same thing we do in this earth. We cannot take a rabbi to be a witness at a wedding, any kosher wedding, Orthodox wedding, if this rabbi is not keeping Shabbat.
Also, Chazan cannot.
A Chazan cannot, none of the prayers will ascend if the Hassan does not keep Shabbat.
Strict observance
See?
of Shabbat.
Yeah? Because a person who keeps Shabbat, okay, he testifies that he believes in HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
It's like anybody who breaks the law is some kind of a criminal, so you cannot have a police officer who is a criminal 100%.
There you go, you see?
So
It's a very simple
it's
thing,
very
right?
simple thinking, yeah.
Yeah. Now, so now that I give you some examples, okay, I would like to give thanks to everybody that's involved. Hannah, there's something that's in the screen here. Look at it.
I want to see that in the picture.
No, there's something else that came. Oh,
Better
there.
than Joe Biden.
Okay, now it came up already. Sorry. So I want to give thanks to the
Good, I like
first of all for the Rabbi Shimon. He's may Hashem bless him and his family, and may his father be recover fast. Refuah shalema to his father, and that all his children, always follow their parents' footsteps. Okay. Amen to that, and to to all the people involved in this, the donors, people that help with their time, everybody that's helping the rabbi and his family and everything that is done. Okay, may Hashem always bless you and always give you the strength to always continue to do it. Okay, may that feeling always be in your heart, and you do it with a pure heart.
Amen.
All the time. Okay, blessings to everybody. So now we're going to go into something called Teshuvah. The urgency to repent. Rabbeinu Yonah in Sharat Teshuvah, Volume 1, this is what he wrote. That when a sinner postpones repenting from his sin, his liability grows daily. Okay? So that should make you think about something. After all, he realizes that he has sinned and angered Hashem, and that he has a way to escape. Notice his word. The word is to escape. Okay? So what is he going to escape? Hashem put everything there so we can escape from punishment. So wait a minute. Hashem likes when people escape from prison? Yes. You would think that he wouldn't, right? It doesn't go with your train of thought. How can Hashem, would want that somebody that has committed a sin, okay, push himself to escape from prison that he's in? But he does. So this is what he says. Hashem has a way for us to escape his punishment through, and he put there the key, Teshuvah.
So, if we repent, Hashem will accept our repentance if we repent sincerely.
Yes. We're not going to go into why people commit sins, okay? We're not going to go in there because it's very easy to understand why. Hashem created a balance. In order for a balance to be a balance, you have to be exposed to the both sides, right? Mm-hmm. You need to be able to be exposed to the both sides. Now, if you're exposed to both sides, now you can choose freely. Now you have free will. Okay, simple as this. Okay, now Hashem, because he knows that we're going to be exposed to something physical, that this urge in this physical world, these impulses are so strong. Okay, they're even stronger at times than the persuasion that our neshama has for us. Even though we are a neshama with a body, a lot of times we feel that we're a body with a neshama.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
You understand the difference?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like you're being a rug doll,
Yeah, the neshama is a visitor.
being
You know?
dragged around.
So we see on Shabbat that we get the double dose, or we get an extra neshama. If this is true, Baruch Hashem, I need all the neshamas I can get on Shabbat. Right? So, yeah. It seems that as soon as we eat, we start to yawn. As soon as the Shabbat comes in, you don't have strength to do anything. You don't want to do anything.
Splash.
And also,
You know?
when Friday comes, there's something challenging.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's very hard. Fridays is probably the hardest day of the week. For me. I don't speak for anybody else. But for me, Friday is the hardest day of the week. Okay?
It's always like
Preparation
something
day.
comes up, like someone gets stuck that you have to.
There's always
Someone
something
has-
going on.
Yeah, someone
And
eating your time.
You can hear it.
On
We need
top
to
of what
see
you have to do.
Israel.
You can.
Feel the pressure.
Yeah, it's even probably it's even stronger over there.
On
Okay.
Saturday,
Yeah, the rabbi told me at one time. He said, if you think it's bad here, the Yetzer Hara in Israel, it's way worse. So, yeah, I said, how can it be? He says the urge is so strong. It's more strong. There's people that he said that I know that in Israel, they were not religious at all. When they came to the United States, it's like they had the want and the need and they forced themselves and they became religious. And here, it's not a problem for them. But in Israel, I said, should it be there a little bit better? He says, yeah, you have to understand there's always a balance. Okay? The higher the person is righteous, the Yetzer Hara is in the same level. Okay? It's stronger. Now, so now we know that Hashem, okay, has made a way for the sinner to escape punishment. Okay? Now, if the sinner fails to take advantage of that escape route, and this person ignoring, okay, what Hashem has done for him, his sin now is going to multiply. Okay, so I'll give you an example. How many sins does a person commit when it says, thou shalt not steal? And he steals.
One.
We would think, right? One.
But it depends. It's still $1 million.
No, it doesn't matter. $1 million, $1 is the same thing. Okay? He steals. But you would think you only committed one sin, right? You only broke one commandment, right? But that's not how it is. Because now you broke two commandments. So how is that? Because you disobeyed Hashem is one, and two, you committed the felony.
It's like felony on earth.
Yeah. Three, okay, if you don't return it now, you committed that sin that you haven't returned back what doesn't belong to you. Another sin? Yes. Okay, how about if the person stole $1 million, he gave back $1 million. Hashem says, no, that's not how it works. You have to give him $1 million and how much? And more back. Well, you have to pay now an interest on it. What? You see? Now, okay, that's now we're getting somewhere. Now there's another thing here. Okay? You just broke the right of another human being to exist. Meaning, you didn't care for the other person who he is. His existence it doesn't matter. You now have become God. Because now you're taking something that doesn't belong to you from somebody else because you want to. You wanted it. Plus, maybe that's an inheritance for his children. Now you just stole from their inheritance. And the sin goes on and on. This is why Hashem says, I'm going to make it simple. I'm creating something called Teshuvah. Take advantage of it. This is an escape route. This is a gate that you can go through. If you don't take this, then every day that goes by, every time you remember, every second that's going by, this sin that you create, because you created it, you created a sin, an angel, you created an angel or an entity of sin, of stealing. You know, you go before the court and they say, what you been up to? So, not much, I committed a little sin, It's not too bad. And the one that you just created is right next to you. He said, what do you mean not too bad? I'm $1 million entity. What are you talking about? And all the other sins, look. So this is why we need to understand that our actions have consequences. Not only in this earth, and not only between the two parties, but there's other people involved in this. Right? Now the sin multiplies, and the longer he postpones it, the greater is his sin. it keeps on growing and getting stronger. So our sages taught this lesson in a form of a parable. And by giving you this parable, I'm going to probably, there'll be enough time right there to finish it. So they say like this, so this is a story parable. It means a lesson so we will not forget the theme that we're talking about. Okay? The best way, this is why we teach our children certain things, certain rules, ethics, by giving them stories. Right? So you guys have a lot of these children's stories, right? The children's stories everybody has. Somebody has told you children's stories and you've heard it already. So this is a way of teaching, because it's better to draw in your mind something and you will never forget than words sometimes. So the parable goes like this. And this is, by the way, from Kohelet Rabbi, chapter 7, verse 15. So this is about a band of thieves who were in prison. But they dug a tunnel enabling them to escape. The prison guard came and discovered that all but one prisoner had escaped through the tunnel. All the other people escaped, right? And there was one guy who at that time, at that day, decided he was not going to be a bandit anymore. He wanted to do what's right. Does it sound good?
Yeah.
Sounds good, right? Okay. So let's see what I'm talking about. The sages talk about this. Okay. It's not the neighbor next door. These are the sages. These are wise people, and they understand things that I'll probably never be able to understand. Okay, in 2 or 3 lifetimes. That's the way it is. So these sages taught that these bandits dug a tunnel from the prison and they escaped, but only one of the guys decides to stay there. So the prison guard came and discovered that all but one prisoner had escaped through the tunnel. So the guard raised his club. He took the club and he started beating the prisoner. What?
So cruel.
You see what I'm telling you? Does that make sense to you?
No.
The guy that didn't run, he's getting beaten by the officer.
He could have run.
And then he tells him this. He calls him an idiot. After he beats him, he calls him an idiot.
Because he didn't escape.
So he asked a question to this guy. He said, why didn't you save yourself and escape through the tunnel? What would you have said?
Scared from rats.
I'm scared from rats. No? No, because I was already sentenced. I was supposed to be in prison. I want to do my time and finish my time and leave. These other guys, they just added to their prison sentence. If they catch them, they're probably going to kill them.
Of course.
Right? You would think all these things. Okay, now the Zohar, Hadash used the same parable and they told the same story. But it goes on to explain that the thieves represents the sinner. Now, see how now it's going to change. The thieves are the sinners who have followed the path of darkness. Finding themselves in this miserable situation, the intelligent ones among them realized what a terrible thing they had done and searched for an escape route. They decided to try the route of Teshuvah.
The one who escaped.
The ones that escaped, they did Teshuvah. Okay? They're going through the tunnel of Teshuvah. You say, what? This doesn't make sense to me, because we're used to thinking the other way. Okay? And this is a way of changing the way you think. Now, they decided to try the route of Teshuvah and to beg for mercy and another chance. They did this and escaped. The foolish ones among them, however, saw that the route of Teshuvah was open for them and that the others before them had used it and successfully escaped punishment. But they chose not to take advantage of it. So blessed the Holy One says to those people, your brothers fled and escaped through the route of Teshuvah, and so I can no longer punish them.
But that is a different case in our situation.
Well, let's see.
Because when we escape from prison, the punishment will be double.
This is what you would think, right?
Yeah.
But
In
this
our
is not
court- in our judicial
in
system.
the way of in the way we think as humans,
Yeah.
in the tradition that we've lived all our lives. This is why we don't understand Hashem. And we don't understand Torah.
Yeah.
We don't understand the mercy of Hashem. Okay? We want to think that Hashem thinks like us. But Hashem doesn't think like us. His ways are not like our ways. Okay? His ways they're way different than ours. Now, listen to this. But you who are perfectly aware of this escape route and choose not to follow it, there is no hope for you. So the person who stayed in the prison cell, there's no hope for this person. Huh? That's why he deserves a beating and a half. So why you hitting me? I'm already in prison. You're gonna get another beating for being stupid. This is the meaning of the verse in Job. Job wrote about it also in chapter 11, verse 20. The longing of the wicked will be unfulfilled. Since they saw the escape route open, but the escape was lost to them, they refused to flee and escape. But now they have lost every semblance of hope. They will not be resurrected in the future. What? Okay. You see, Hashem, like I told you from the beginning, created all these things. Okay? Because He knows. He knows through how we're going to have to deal with this thing called something spiritual and something physical. Okay? He knows that in humanity there's a mixture of good and bad. Right? So where does the mixed multitude comes? The Erev Rav come? Etz Hadat. Because it's a tree of, mixture of, between good and bad. We cannot tell what is good and what's really bad. So if we don't know, okay, can somebody teach us? Yes, somebody can teach us. Who is this? Torah. See? But Torah has made a contract with Hashem. The only reason why Torah is here is because Hashem gave human beings, okay, a special day called Shabbat. If a person does not take advantage of Shabbat, okay, he cannot learn from Torah. He has a mixture of good and bad. Even in his lessons, even anything that he reads, he gets mixed up with the concepts. It's not a guarantee because you buy a book. Sometimes people believe this. They see sometimes a rabbi or or they see me that I buy a book, and they want to buy that book because they think that they're gonna be able to read it just like this, and they understand it. They have no idea. The rabbi is talking about, the one that's reading is talking about something totally different. Like this example. You will never come to your mind that, wait a minute, a person who escapes from prison, okay, is teaching me a lesson. What is the lesson? Not to stay in prison.
Yeah.
You're right.
Right? So what is a prison? A prison is when you don't have a say-so. You lose your will to live, your will to think, Your will to do right. Your will to be good, to love, to be loved, to nurture, to teach, to learn. You have created a prison, and this prison, okay, has you there.
You say, why are you in prison? Because I lack a lawyer to defend. Yeah, probably. It's like
So there's people that stay in prison because they have nothing to live for outside. Okay, they believe it's too hard to live out here. So it's better to be institutionalized, where they tell you what time to get up. Okay, they serve you your breakfast. You know, you have clean clothes. You don't have a responsibility except for maybe a little locker and to make a bed. Okay, and go and walk. And all you're doing is wasting your time.
they don't work.
Some do, some don't. And the only ones that work are because they want to make a little bit of money. Sometimes 35, 50 cents a day. That's it. Okay? Because everything is given to them. Shoes, clothes. You don't have to buy shampoo. You don't have to buy nothing. You know, it's like, why should I go out there for? I'm going to have to work. It's like the young man that said, I was not asked to be born. So he sues his parents. Yeah, this is true.
And he won. I remember that case.
No, actually, he didn't win. He didn't win. I'll tell you why. Because when the parents came, and he said, you know, they kicked me out of the house. Why? They want me to work? Why? I didn't ask to be brought to this earth. I don't want to work. They should take care of me until I die, until they die. And then they asked the parents, did you ask them? I said, no, we never asked him to be born. I says, okay, then you guys are responsible for him. He says, yeah, but we also didn't ask to be born. So let's bring grandma and grandpa. Let's put them in the sand. They said, we didn't ask to be born either. See what this is going to go to? It goes nowhere. It's true. Nobody was asked if they wanted to come to this earth. In this earth. Okay? Yes or no?
That's different from what I've read. In quantum physics, you actually beg to be here.
Okay. But this is different.
Yeah.
In Shemaim, you chose your own parents.
Yes.
Let me
Yes.
tell you something. You
beg
chose
to
your
be here.
parents.
Really?
Yeah.
You choose, yeah.
And now that you're here, you say, I hate you. You know? I hate my dad so much. I hate my mom. I shouldn't say that. But the kids speak this way now. Just because they send them to clean their room. They have a room. Because they told them to pick up their socks. You know? They want to kill themselves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They have no idea. So Hashem says, I created the Teshuvah. You're in prison right now, the prison of sin. You'll never get out of it. But I'm giving you an opportunity. Okay? It's called Teshuvah. If you truly, truly repent, and you're honest with yourself, and you're honest with Hashem, you can get out of there. Out of that habit that you have. This is a prison, right? When people that are hooked to I'm not even going to mention one thing, to anything you're hooked to, okay? And you cannot, and this consumes everything in you, all your time and your thinking. I'll give you an example. There's guys at work that don't show up for work. And I asked him one time, why do you miss so much? He says, oh man, I'm telling you, you want to know the truth? I said, yeah. He says, I was playing this game, and I go, what?
Like a kid.
These guys are 30 years old. 25. Okay? Because they were hooked in playing a race car game or a boxing match. It was because they were playing. They miss work. People because they were drinking a beer, a liquid. Okay? And getting dizzy. And voluntarily wanting to throw up. And voluntarily having a headache. Voluntarily having a headache and a hangover. Voluntarily. Nobody forced you. So like, oh no, they took me last night, they tied me up, and they fed me beer until I threw up. No, you paid. Okay? You can't wait till Friday, the people said, I can't wait for Friday so I can go and spend half of my paycheck. So I can, the next day I can have a hangover, and then I'll have no money. So I can create problems between me and my wife, and me and my children. What? This is crazy. You know? Hashem gave us, He created this thing called Teshuvah, so we can escape these habits. And we should be able to take advantage of them. Okay? So, the lesson is clear, but the parable in itself is problematic. Why is the prisoner who chose not to escape deserving of further punishment? Perhaps he was afraid that if he escaped, he will be captured once more and be punished for escaping as well. And if so, he is not to be blamed for remaining in the prison cell. Sounds right?
Sounds right.
Yeah, it sounds right. Okay? So, a person is in a bad relationship. He's in a prison in a bad relationship. Okay? But when he says, I'm going to leave you if you don't stop this. Or she says, I'm going to leave you if you keep on treating me this way. The other person says, if you leave me, I'll kill you. So, what does a person do? Stays in the relationship.
Force.
See what I'm saying? And you cannot blame anybody because you decided, I'm going to stay in the relationship. Or the person says, if you leave me, I'll kill myself. This is what people come to realize that, no, I don't want you to get hurt. I didn't want to hurt you, Mom, so I didn't tell you the truth. You know? You've been drinking? No, babe, I haven't been drinking. And driving? No, I haven't been drinking. Okay? Until when? Until they get caught. DWI. Or
That's expensive.
Yeah. Or his life is hanging by the thread because his car is wrapped around a tree. Yeah. Because he don't want to listen. Okay?
Yeah, sometimes God will smack you in the head to
Yeah.
wake up.
No, it's not Hashem that want to smack you. It's you want to smack you. Hashem says you created this. Okay? I gave you an escape route. You don't want to take it? You want to still stay in the prison that you're in? Stay in the prison that you're in. And you'll see the guard is going to beat you. Okay? That entity that you created will torture you. Okay? They torture you because you shouldn't have created it. It's like the movie Frankenstein, right? Mm-hmm. The guy created Frankenstein, then Frankenstein wants to kill him. So who told you to create it? Okay? So, we're going to stop here. Any questions? No? Did you guys learn something different? Yes.
I have a question.
Yes,
So
go ahead.
when we do a sin, it creates an angel or an entity. What happens when we do the Teshuvah with that angel that was created in the sin?
Okay. So I told you from the beginning, there's two ways. Either it is destroyed completely, okay, it's disappeared. Or you can turn it from a bad to a good one. So how do you do that? A person, a tshuva. So the escape route is just escape route. Now at the end of the escape route, there's another thing called you change what you did wrong. Okay? So this person stole $1 million. So he returns not only $1 million, let's say he returns $1,200,000. Right? And he says, I'm never going to do this again. Never. Okay? And he does something that has to do with the parasha this week. The parasha of this week, what does it teach us? It's called neder. Okay? When we swear. So this is why a Jewish saying is very popular and the children hate it. Bli neder. You gonna take us to the zoo? Bli neder. No, not bli neder. Say you're gonna take us to the zoo. No, bli neder. I hate that word, bli neder. My parents, everything is bli neder. You know? But this is the way it should be. Because at the end of the route, at the end of the line, you know, you did right and you created this entity of stealing. And this entity of stealing, you turn it out to be an entity of giving. So it can work either way for you. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Anything else?
That's all.
All right. Now to give thanks to the Rojas family for posting things for us, for the Rabbi and for everybody that comes here and is constantly making efforts. This is a big effort. I'm telling you, I know how it is. A big effort just to show up, okay, because you have a lot of things to do, okay? And may Hashem bless all of you. May Hashem bless the Rabbi and every person. And we don't know the baby that was born, okay? We don't know the baby's name yet, but Mazel Tov to them, okay? And so they're in the process. They're growing slowly, and it's better to do it slowly like this. Hashem always bless them, everybody, okay? Thank you very much, and thank you, Yafa, for preparing everything for us here. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Toda rabba. May Hashem be blessed.